like to invite Professor Vijayalakshmi from IIT Madras, Professor of Management Studies, who's worked on empathy in organizational development and emotions in the workplace, to share with us her thoughts on what's most important for the ordinary youth. They want to know, is trying to develop a career important, or what is the alternative to having careers in this very disruptive world? Professor Vijayalakshmi will speak on why careers are important and varied multi-skilling in the future of the Indian youth. Professor Vijayalakshmi.
So, pranams. So, how many of you are students here? Lifelong learners. We are lifelong learners, yes. And how many of you are faculty? Okay, fewer than that. Right. So, let's rewind to a very interesting story that all of us really love always, Mahabharata. Adhyatma, yes. So, they have to be in incognito, should not be discovered by Kauravas. And what comes to Pandava's rescue? Skills. So, these are Kshatriya warriors. So, they are great exponents of arms, but multi-skill is what helped them. So, you have a person who is a great cook, Vallabha, and you have Brihanalla, who is a dancer who teaches dance. So, these multi-skilling actually helped Pandavas. So, so that's my topic. His careers are passe, and multi-skills is the way to go for youth. I would like the PPT to be here. So usually we have a practice at IIT Madras and in most of the departments where we keep updating alumni database. Okay, so when we keep updating alumni database, what's the common pattern that we get? Every 3 years, students change. This is in contrast to the previous generation, where my uncles, my relatives joined an organization, bank or any, and then retired from the same organization. Do you see yourself do that? Yes? How many of you will join and then retire from the same organization? Okay. So if IIT Madras doesn't chuck me out, so I'll also stay back, right? But every 3 years, millennials keep changing jobs. Why do you think it is? A lot of research has gone into millennial psyche to understand people who were born after 1990s. What is it that makes them change jobs regularly? Better jobs, okay, and new learning, okay, so they want to learn, yes, what else? Get bored. So millennials want challenge. They'll always need some challenge. They look out for challenge. So that's one. The need for variety is very high. Okay. So they need variety. So in terms of attention span, it's pretty weak, 7 to 8 minutes. And from morning you've been sitting. Hats off here. So, but 7 to 8 minutes is the attention span for graduates and so for young adults. The need for variety is something that pushes people to keep looking out for jobs. And how does this future of work look? It's not far when because who are your co-workers? Robots. Or cloud, right? So it's not far off. You will see people, so automation, machine learning, artificial intelligence, these are buzzwords that you've heard of enough. So the one aspect that makes careers so temporary is because there's an inherent need for change. So that's internal. But the world is also changing so drastically, no? So it's so volatile, it's so uncertain, it's so complex and it's so ambiguous. So there is a need from the outside also for this change. And that's the reason multi-skilling, which helped Pandavas way back, is going to help us also. So when we talk about what these skills are, you have a very nice model called the T model, where the basic skills are your domain skills. So you have a civil engineer, knows about structural engineering, construction, quality, project management, all these are domain related skills. But above that, you have broad-based skills. For example, Dr. Nishant and others spoke about problem solving, critical thinking, negotiation skills. So all these are broad-based skills which can be used in any vertical, in any line of work. But over and above this, you have the very higher order level of thinking, which is called meta-level thinking. Any idea what this meta-level thinking is? So you have domain skills, okay? And then you have broad-based skills which are necessary for any job. And above that you have a higher order. What could these skills be? Great. So meta means by itself. So you have learning about learning. What is my learning style? Some of you are kinesthetic learners, visual learners. So for me, if I don't write something down, nothing gets into my head. Some of you are auditory learners, so I don't see any notepad and pen. For you, it's Shravana. You just listen, you imbibe. So what is my learning style? So that could be one meta-level skill. What else? Empathy. So we have heard a lot about empathy, right? So we'll talk about these skills in detail in some time. What do you see? Can you describe this picture? Huh? Sorry? One fellow's cheating. Yes. What else? What else? Come on. So one person is cheating, one is peeping. What else? One is smoking. Okay. What else? One is very sad. Please remember these responses. One is worried. How do you know? His face is like he's pouting. Okay. What else? Hiding one's card. What? Laid back. Okay. So, right. So one person in the audience is looking at data. So so Swamiji looked at the time and said it's late night. It's 2 o'clock. They're playing poker. Right. So what can you gather from this? What kind of a skill is this? Observation, yes. Organized, okay. So how do you collect or see information from the external world? How do you receive information from the external world? One is through data. And neuroscience, we have had so many sessions on neuroscience. You have the hemisphere, left and right hemisphere. And most of us are really good in the portfolio, left hemisphere portfolio. Left-brained activity. What is the portfolio for left brain? Analytical, logical, cognitive, sequential, so structure, okay, so linear, sequential, logical, analytical reasoning. We are really good in this. And most of our educational system concentrates on this, and therefore in the world we are really there. We are really good in this. But some of you, when you looked into this picture, actually stepped out, no? Some of you saw it from a helicopter's point of view. Zoom out, see the bigger picture. The right brain's portfolio is what else? Right brain's spiritual intelligence, yes. Sorry? Creativity.
Dogs don't play poker.
Exact. So asking the question, why is this picture? I mean, does it even make sense? Right? The art of questioning is also a right-brained activity. So creativity, spirituality, intuition, exactly. So intuitive mind. What else? Emotions, spontaneity, lateral thinking. All these are right brain. And do we have training in this, do you think? Students, I'm asking you. How many of your classes use play, for example. The use of touch, the concept of touch is a right-brained activity. And you like experiential activities, right? You don't like lectures. So, there's one thing that we keep doing, trying to understand students' mind. How to motivate them to learn. How to motivate them to love learning. So, this is something that is constantly in our mind. You love experiential activities. You love the touch. So, play is supposed to activate the right brain. But we don't have enough courses that teach through this methodology. So, you have metacognition, which is thinking about thinking. Why is this important? Why am I learning this? So, the why questions come here in metacognition. Then you have creativity, critical thinking, zooming out, bigger picture. From morning you've been sitting. How many sessions are over? 17 sessions. They're all parts. Now, I urge you to sit quietly after the sessions get over to synthesize and integrate. And this is a skill. The ability to synthesize and integrate the different learnings. In engineering, you have how many subjects in engineering? Totally. I'm not an engineer, so. I'll say, okay? So 48. So you have so many different subjects. Does your faculty or you integrate or synthesize these learnings? It's all in bits and pieces, right? So one of the speakers, I think Dr. Ravindran, mentioned about contemplative intelligence. I think most of our courses need time to reflect. Professor M.S. Anand, our former director of IIT Madras, used to say, we're always running to cover portions. I think it's more important to uncover them. So, there is need for us to have quiet time to synthesize and integrate, which is a very, very important skill. So, all these skills are from what I'm presenting to you are from different research surveys, from World Economic Forum, from India Skills Report, McKinsey, Gallup, all of them have found out these skills are very important for future of work and have just collated them and I'm presenting to you. So out of this, two important skills stand out. One is the right brain skills, which is about synthesis, bigger picture, creativity, and the other is people related skills. So we are all scared of automation. No? We are all scared that our jobs will go off to robots. But these two types of skills, we don't have a problem. Wherever there is people related and creativity, problem solving, critical thinking, I think our jobs are safe. So these two types of skills we need to be very careful. So please watch this video. And this is an example of a term that we have seen quite some time today. So the ability to be sensitive, thinking on the feet, empathy, we have seen enough of it. Let me test you. I'm a teacher. I like testing. So can I have two volunteers? Come. One more maybe? Please. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Should I?
No, it's okay, it's okay.
Okay. So, I'm driving. Okay, you can be here. So, what's your name?
Suraj.
Okay. Suraj, pani yaar. So, mostly I'll crash. So, ma'am, your name? Serene. Pani? Okay, so this is a small activity, right? Maybe silly even. So where is empathy coming in? I'm not, so. So most of us, I think the first time I don't remember. Did I open this bottle? I don't remember, but thank you. Thanks for. So I remember in the book Karma Yoga, Swami Vivekananda had said, if you want to understand a person's character, observe smaller acts. And not, so we always look at the big things that people do. But smaller acts also make a lot of difference. So a small act of opening the bottle's lid and giving it is an act of empathy. So it's an act of mindfulness. I think mindfulness as an art and a skill is very much needed. Okay. So most of the organizations now want what they call as full stack developer, full stack worker. So if you're in an IT organization, starting from getting the requirements from customers, to designing, to developing, to testing and coding, and to implement, execute, it's a whole gamut of activities. And the employees look out for people who have all these skills. They are able to do all of this. So if a person who wants to become a chef, wants to become a sous chef or a master chef, Michelin star chef immediately, that's not possible. The first activity that he's been given, the first task that he or she is given is what? So even procure vegetables, clean the workstation, cut vegetables perfectly. So full stack is, the need to be multi-skilled comes in this particular thing, full stack worker. So you cannot say, this is the only thing that I'm going to do. I want to become a chef, only this, and not do the other things. That may not be possible. So how do we build these skills? We have seen the why. Why is this important? We have seen what are the skills that are important. How do we build these skills? How do we become multi-skilled? Across research, there's one thing that stands out as being the most important attitude, and that is, any idea? You already said this before. Learning. Continuously learn. So that's something that's maybe number one. There's no other two ways about it. Continuous learn. So, 3 volunteers. Two more. I mean, it's not rocket science, come on. Yes. One more? Yes. Okay. So simple. You need to get that. So there is a currency. Okay. There is a paper inside. You have to take that out. Okay. Please do not break it. So the clue is, it has to be done differently. So how do you usually open a box? Okay, there is a usual method of opening the box. This needs to be done differently. There is no need to use force. It's very easy. Without force, pressure, you can open it, but you need to really unlearn. So that's the key word. Unlearn how you usually open a box. So I had about 10-15. Most of it is broken. So he has taken it. Okay. So that was a problem with the dabba. Sorry.
So the currency got stuck.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay. Thank you. So that's 2 down. Thank you. So there is no, you need to use force. That's the clue. And yeah, you can stop 1 second. Unlearn. Whatever you understand by the term, do that. But you need to change the way you're thinking. Anybody? Slide. Okay. So usually we do this, right? So you want to use this. So can you think of something different? So usually we do this. Is there a way? Diagonal or... So the diagonal. Okay. So, without use of force, so instead of the usual way of opening it, which is like this, you do it like this. So, diagonal way of, okay, there's some problem with it. So, this is the concept of unlearning. Okay, thank you. Are you expecting some goodies? No.
I was expecting it to
open. Okay. So I usually give this story for unlearning. So there was this Zen master who was very famous, and this boy who wants to learn Zen. He's very into to learn Zen, and he comes to know that the Zen master has come to his village, and he's so excited. He goes to the Zen master and says, "Master, I've been meaning to learn Zen from you. I'm so excited. I've read up on this, and can you take me as your disciple?" So Zen master calmly says, "Please sit down, let's have a cup of tea," and then starts pouring tea till it starts overflowing. And the boy says, "Master, what are you doing? Stop pouring. It's overflowing." So master calmly says, "What? Mind is like this, full of expectations, biases, nothing new will enter." So unlearning is actually replacing obsolete. We don't do mental maintenance continuously. A lot of junk inside. So there is need to do mental maintenance continuously so that new, more updated information and knowledge can enter. So that's basically a skill that we need to develop, learning agility. So teachers, you see, so teachers, you see them with red ink. So they get such high from marking it red. So I have now stopped using red, by the way, for my corrections. So we're all obsessed with fixing weaknesses. And I think this is a paradigm shift that I would like to share. Can we start playing to our strengths? So how do we develop skills? One, the employers want a particular type of skills from you, which is all the T model that we discussed. There's also your own strengths, your own unique talents and into effort. Those are your strengths that you can put in. I'll give you an example. So there was this B.Tech student at IIT Madras who was an awesome guitar player, and one of the professors called him and said, "You're not meant to be here. Go focus on your music." So he leaves to Berklee College of Music, and he becomes a great guitarist. This is guitar Prasanna, who is one of the first to play Carnatic music in guitar. So he played to his strength. So you have on one side what employees want, and the other side what your strengths are. But this requires a lot of time. Strength-based approach requires a lot of time and a mind shift, basically, to think of strengths rather than weaknesses. So over the 17 sessions that we have seen, I think most of us have spoken about collective good. And none of these skills matter if it affects only me and my immediate family. It has to be for the collective good. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. So I think the floods have been a great inspiration for all of us. How we are so quick to help others. So these skill sets are fine, but only if it helps the other person. So I think this is again, I would like to end by quoting Mahabharata, where it was helpful. So when Bhishma wanted water, he had Duryodhana coming with a pot of water, and Arjuna with his prowess got the spring of water for him. So I wish all the students and the few faculty who are there to talk about different types of skills. For example, more of right brain, less of left brain, for us to become a much more holistic individual. Thank you.